man. So who are some of the names and some of the things and the directions we might go in?
Absolutely. So a couple names that have been floated around. One of the really hot names was actually at FedEx last week. He is the assistant general manager for the San Francisco 49ers by the name of Adam Peters. He is largely being thought of as he's their draft guy. He's the talent evaluator. And so, obviously seeing we've given him two really good players in the last 4 years in Trent Williams and Chase Young, good player. We'll see. But we've given him two players here in trades. So maybe he can do us a favor and come join our organization and fix us the way he's helped out San Francisco. So he could be an option. There's a guy in Philly, Alec Halaby. He's a big analytics guy. Josh Harris loves analytics. Obviously, he's been learning from Howie Roseman. And I mean, if we get someone from Philly, Ab would be ecstatic because that's that mindset of like, get assets as much as you can. Trade away players when their value's high or when their value is dipping and get something for them, that type of mindset with analytics. There's a guy who's I think is going to be really interesting to watch. Ian Cunningham out of Chicago. And he's got ties to the Ravens. He's got ties to the Eagles. He went to the University of Virginia. He is the assistant general manager of the Bears. He declined the opportunity for Arizona last year because he wanted to stick around. And all of a sudden, if you look at what Chicago's front office is doing, I know they've had some struggles on the field, but like last year when they traded away and were able to trade that first overall pick to the Panthers, they have this year's first overall pick plus their first overall pick. They've made some questionable moves, trading a second-round pick for Chase Claypool, trading a second-round pick for Montez Sweat, although that's sort of turned in the direction. But they're doing some things in that front office to fix the program. So that's kind of, exciting about. These guys have some proven, they're with some franchises with some proven making some good moves. Guy coming from Baltimore by the name of Joe Ortiz. He's been working underneath Eric DaCosta for years. Before that, obviously, he learned from Ozzie Newsome. So again, it's somebody that has been around a lot of experience. And if you look at the Ravens drafts, I can't name all the players when they draft them, but they always turn in to be solid players, contributing players. And we could only ask for something like that. So he's kind of exciting. Two more names that I've heard of. One is Brant Tillis. I don't know much about him in Kansas City, but he basically, it was reported, Ben Stanek wrote that one of the AFC executives said, if he gets an interview, he's getting hired. So kind of talk about he's been learning under Andy Reid and, sort of building that program up where they continue to have guys.
We've had guys that have learned under Andy Reid.
Buyer beware.
Pump your brakes.
Washington gets screwed when Andy Reid's cast-offs come our way. Donovan McNabb, Alex Smith, Eric Bieniemy. Let's not take his sloppy seconds.
The proof is there.
I know. You're so right. So those are like the GM candidates. Yeah. This next one is kind of interesting that Ben Stanek's been reporting on. Nikki Javala of the Washington Post has been reporting on. Her name is Dawn Appoint. I think I said that. I hope I said that right. She's in the NFL offices, and they're kind of talk about her as what if she were to become the team president? What if she become the executive director of football operations? She's been with many organizations. She's been through scouting departments. So it's not that she couldn't be a candidate as a general manager, but she also could be a really good face of the program. The way Jason Wright has been. But I don't mean this disrespectfully. She's been in the league. Mm-hmm. Jason Wright was working at a consulting firm and got brought into, he's been a good face for us. But she's got experience doing this stuff, being around what the league wants, what the league is looking for. So that could be something really exciting just to kind of see. Just like you said, we just talked about this. What direction are we going to go in? And from there, what does that mean for talent? And connections and personnel.
Yeah. And I mean, look, let's be very honest. These are the football people. You know what I mean? Yes. These are guys. I mean, just to your point about, right, with the consulting firm, these are football people. One of the teams you talked about, the Chicago Bears, who 1 minute they look like they're doing something right, and the next minute it's like, what are y'all doing? And it's going back and forth. But when you talk to Nick and Delilah and those guys, it's the people in the office, the McCaskies, the ones who are the GMs and all that. They're not football people. They're about building up Chicago and the sports and all that type of stuff. So
Right.
you're never going to have that football direction, that mentality, and you're going to continue to have those issues. These are football people, and that is something huge. That's something that's going to stop us from having a situation where, like Dan Snyder did, where he's like, "Oh, my son played with this quarterback. Okay,
Right.
yeah, let's get him." You know what I mean? And no disrespect to the late Dwayne Haskins, but at the same time, it's like at 15, or it was at
Yes.
15, right? Like,
Right.
What are you doing? It just doesn't make sense. So I love this. I love having football people in here so we can start going in a direction where people look at us the way they did when we had Bobby Beathard, in the early 80s up to the 90s, when we're winning championships, we're going to playoffs, we're a formidable force in the land of giants, the Bears, the Niners, the Eagles, the Giants. All of those teams were studs, and they still had to fear us and play for us. So let's get that and go in that direction.
Well, you just mentioned the name Bobby Beathard. All these people that I mentioned, they're his Charlie Casterleys. Oh. They're the ones working underneath him, the talent and stuff. So when it's their turn, they can have some success.
Love that. Absolutely love that. What's going on, Ben? Agreed. Imagine every NFL team had more NFL people who had all their NFL teams. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and hey, we can hope for that. And again, this is that great point because you don't know. There's all that excitement, speculation, what's going to happen, and we finally think we have people in the front office that are owning the team that are looking in that direction. Sure. We will talk a little bit about something you told me about the buyer beware of the some of the other teams that Harris owns. We're not going to do that for right now because we're excited.
Yeah.